Seriously.
It's fascinating who lives here in Alton, who's chosen to live here. Obviously, there's a lot of people who've been born and raised here and never left, but there's a lot of people who have not always lived here and have chosen to live here. So I'm curious about your story. Like, where'd you grow up and how you got here?
Well, I grew up here in Alton in the what's called the Mexico neighborhood, and grew up with my mom and dad and three other siblings. Went to church there, just right around the corner. My grandfather was a pastor, was educated in the Alton public school system, and then when it was time to go to college, do you know what I said? I'm out of here.
You're out of here.
I'm out of here. I'm out of here. So I went away to college in New Orleans.
Right. Yeah. So you left here and you
went to New Orleans, just right down the Mississippi River.
Right.
And
what school?
Attended Tulane in New Orleans. I was a Latin major, pre-med. And so after about 4 years, I was preparing to graduate, head on to grad school. And this young dapper guy here.
Here we go.
I met him. I was the, I guess you could say it was what, the resident advisor.
RA, yep.
Of a student
apartment complex.
He needed a job. I was leaving. And so unbeknownst to both of us, someone was kind of trying to set us up.
I just walked in off the street. I said, man, that is a really nice apartment building, and I need a job. So I walked in and I said, hi, my name's Damian Jones. I'm starting here at the law school, and I need a job. Are you guys hiring? He said, well, no, and usually we like to schedule our interviews, but I have 5 minutes. Come and talk with me for a second. 5 minutes turned into an hour. We were talking about everything, including tennis, and he loved tennis and knew all the players, and we just hit it off. And he said, look, Damian, you're perfect. You're the kind of guy that we're looking for. But the policy of the property is that you have to be interviewed by one of our professional staff and one of our present student staff, one of the RAs. You think you can come back around this time tomorrow? I said, I'm getting the impression that maybe I have a shot at a job. I was like, sure, I'll be here. So I leave, come back, and I'm ready to do the interview. I end up getting hired, and Dee Dee was my RA interviewer.
Oh, wow.
After he hired me, he told me, he said, listen, man, I got to tell you the truth. You left that first day, I pulled out the paperwork, filled it out, and hired you. I just wanted you to come back to meet Dee Dee because I thought you guys would hit it off. That's how I met my wife.
That's awesome. Yeah.
It is kind of cool because he was wearing a trench coat. Damian has impeccable taste. So he's walking around the courtyard. I'm on the second story of my apartment complex. I call my girlfriends together. I said, there's my husband. They're like, where? I said, right there.
You knew it.
And they're like, you've never met him. I said, that's my husband.
Yeah.
Where are you from?
I grew up, I was born and raised in Northern Virginia. My dad was in the service, so we lived not far from Washington, D.C. while he worked in the district. When he retired from the Army in 1979, we moved down to New Orleans because my mom and dad were from Louisiana. So I went to high school, college, and law school in Louisiana. And that's where I met her. And we lived in a couple of other cities, large cities, based primarily on career, and her practicing medicine, me working mostly corporate consulting.
We agreed on two things before we got married. Number one, we will never live where?
Alton, Illinois.
You will never live in Alton,
We'll never live in Alton, Illinois. And number two, we'll never have
a dog.
Really? And whose idea was it to never move to Alton?
Mutually agreed upon.
It was mutually agreed upon, Yes. So you had probably, Damian, you'd probably been back to visit the family.
Yeah, I was like, I told her, I said, look, Dee Dee, I love you. I'm keen on you. I'll do anything for you. But I'm never going to live in Alton.
Why? Do you remember?
My personality, my interests, I didn't feel that, my professional pursuits, I didn't feel like I'd be well suited for Alton. But an opportunity presented itself to come and help her father with his business. Dee Dee's father is an inventor. He patented a mechanism that converts a bike from one-wheel drive to two-wheel drive.
Okay.
And at the time, it was pretty popular. I mean, it was Wall Street Journal, USA Today, Today Show popular.
So moving to Alton, did your dad reach out to you and say he needed help, or were you guys visiting and the conversation
He reached out. That's a great story. He just popped up.
Okay.
He popped up unannounced on at the door. And doorbell rings, I answer the door, it's my father-in-law. And I'm like, Bill, did you make a wrong turn on I-64? What are you doing here?
Oh, wow.
It just
So
popped
he
up.
drove to Alton,
He
Illinois?
just
Drove
that's
to Atlanta.
that's
He
my
drove to
father-in-law.
Atlanta, yeah. Right.
He just drove and
Right.
asked us if we'd be interested in helping.
Yeah.
And that's how we arrived here.
And it didn't make any sense.
No, it's
because
just,
we were about to have or had just had our third child.
Right.
We had found a wonderful public school system.
Sure.
We had just moved into what we thought was our forever home at the time. So it didn't make sense at all.
Right.
But there was this lure to, and like, why not? We're adventurous people. Let's try it out for a few years.
Right.
And we can come back and reestablish our lives here. But like I said, 22 plus years later, or almost 22 years,
Alton
we're
captured
still
us.
here. We're
Yep.
still
That's
here.
right.
Over time, as Damian said, we found that the city had so much to offer.
Right. Okay.
And I think we talked about this, was its geographic location
Yeah.
to many of the cities that we found fascinating.
Right. Yeah.
We have probably taken the train to Chicago over the 20 plus years of living here, 40
I'd say
40
that's
times,
it.
if not
Okay, sure.
more, for
Yeah.
various family outings, just for day trips, just for date trips,
Right.
just for shopping, for kids' birthdays, parties. 5 hours north, you're in Chicago.
Yeah.
5 hours south, you're in Memphis.
Right.
5 hours east, you're in Indianapolis. 5 hours west, you're in Kansas City.
Yeah.
There are very few places, metropolitan cities, that are beyond 5 hours from Alton,
Right.
Illinois. One of our favorite pastimes is driving where?
Down the river road.
Especially
driving
at
down the river road.
sunset.
Yeah.
If you think about it, there's something new with every season.
Yeah.
Winter, you can look on the Mississippi. And the last time we drove up the Mississippi, how many bald eagles did you see?
6 or 7. I was
Just out in the
just seeing them
Mississippi.
everywhere.
And the fall foliage, in the summer,
Unbelievable.
cyclists, you can
Yeah.
go grab a fish sandwich in Grafton. We love camping, so we drag our trailer in the summer, and the spring the trees are blooming. There's really something for everyone at
Right.
every season,
Yeah.
at every turn. There are things that you realize that were there that you never noticed prior to driving, and then the sunsets are just beautiful on
Right. Yeah.
Mississippi.
On the river. Yeah.
They really are.
Even from town here.
Yes, they are.
They are. Yeah. At what point did you realize that you were going to stay here? Was there a point?
I'm interested to know what you feel. I'm feeling,
Yeah.
for me, it's been relatively recent. Just the last few years, I've developed friendships that have been the deepest and most
Yeah.
meaningful friendships that I've ever had in my life, with people that
Right.
I know will always be with me as friends wherever we are.
Right.
Our intention is and truly is to stay here.
Yeah.
Probably for the rest of our lives, or at least for
Yeah.
a significant portion of the rest of our lives. But I know whatever comes, we're going to be connected to the people that we are in fellowship
Yeah.
with here in Alton. Meaningful friendships have come to me that I never thought I'd ever have.
Alton was a perfect place for us to live because our kids were very active in
Right.
music, in their theater pursuits, with sports, especially our son. We have
Yeah.
one son in soccer. We would travel, to St. Louis frequently, to Maryland Heights, and it was so easy for us to just hop on the bridge,
Yeah.
get on the highway,
Right.
go to soccer, and come back home. Our girls had opportunities to work with Opera Theater St. Louis, a
Wow,
major, a world-renowned theater.
Yeah. I mean,
Opera
St. Louis has
program.
world class.
Yes. Our girls were in the
programs,
Muni,
yeah.
which is the longest-running, oldest
Yeah.
outdoor theater. How many cities can boast that they are towns, small towns can boast
Yeah.
something like that?
So you can live in Alton. It's quiet.
Yes.
For most part.
Yes.
And historic neighborhoods,
Yes.
beautiful neighborhoods, and then you can, in 40 minutes, you can be in
The
some.
ease of access to
Yeah.
a varied kind of array of activities that you can go and experience and then go back home.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Whether it be the Muni, a Cardinals game, you can
Right.
grab a Cardinals game.
Yep.
If you're into hockey, you can go to a hockey game.
What's coming now? What's coming now?
Soccer. We're getting professional
We
soccer.
got a
Yes.
professional soccer
Right.
team,
Yeah.
so we're can't
Right.
wait to go
You
down
can't
there
beat
and catch
that.
a soccer match.
The Botanical Garden, which is where we got
That's
married.
where we got
Right,
married,
yeah.
in the
The
Botanical
festival,
Garden.
Art Hill, the
Right.
History Museum, Forest Park,
Favorite,
the
place
zoo.
to go.
Yeah.
And,
There's something for
walk and
kids.
bike.
Our kids always had something to do.
So you've been here for 22 years, right? Or almost 22 years. How has Alton changed in that time?
It's gotten better. It's definitely gotten
Alton
better.
has gotten better
Oh,
in
yes.
the last 22 years.
It's definitely
Yeah.
gotten better. In fact, I think the best is
Yeah.
yet to come.
Okay.
And I credit that to this next generation
Yeah.
who are dreamers, they're innovators, they're risk takers. And I mean, you have the benefit of technology. I mean,
Yeah.
you can live in Alton and theoretically have a very, very, very successful, maybe online presence or online business without all the headaches of living in a big city.
Right.
So I think once people start to see
Right.
that there's so much to offer here, that more and more people are going to move here and bring that energy and
Right.
those ideas and that innovation. I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
I think
10
that
years
energy is
ago,
coming. I think that
would-
energy is coming.
Would you have thought that we could just go to as many coffee shops as we can now? I mean, we have 4 or 5 coffee shops in Alton that we can choose from. 5 years ago, we had to
That's
drive
true.
to
That's
a
right.
neighboring town or across the bridge to get a good cup of coffee. But more than that, it's what happens when you're enjoying the coffee. The people that walk in
Yeah.
the door,
Right.
the friendships that you develop, it's priceless.
It's like you have the best of all worlds. You have everything that Alton has to offer as a riverfront community, along the bluffs of the Mississippi. But you're next door to a great, city in St. Louis that's easily accessible. So you have the, access to all
Right.
that the city has to offer. But then you're able to come back home,
That's
come back to
right.
I
Alton.
love it. I'm glad to be here right now. I hope that we're around for a few more decades because I can't even imagine what just the riverfront is going to look like, what our neighborhood is going to look like, what other neighborhoods
Yeah.
are going to look like, just the overall health of our community and just the different health initiatives that are underway. I just really seeing us making headline news for just who we are going to
Right.
become.